for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear tonight with a low of 59, then Saturday sunshine with a high of 88. Cafe Latte is unlike any restaurant you've ever experienced. Grab a tray and pick from their award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts. Cafe Latte, Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul, or cafelatte.com.
Good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut any cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade, which means distant thunder. Hey, Cuttagay Wee, to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. That's my colonized name. Hey, we discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Jaga. And this portion of the show is supported by NACD's Four Sisters Food Sovereignty Program. You can join them this weekend for a Phillips Farms bike tour in South Minneapolis on Saturday, September 28th, from noon to 4 p.m. to learn about locally grown foods and share a meal. Learn more and sign up for this free event at nacd.org/events. Hey, everyone. Happy Friday. It's Haley Cherry here, producer, starting off the show with you on Fun Friday here on Native Roots Radio. Thank you, a big Pinagigi, for tuning in with us this evening or whenever you're listening to this. We always have Native Roots Radio in podcasted version, so if you ever miss an episode, check us out on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Today's lineup, we're going to hear from Minnesota State Senator Mary Kunesh, as we do usually every Friday. We're very thankful for Mary's conversation and contribution that she brings to our show. She's been on really ever since Robert started the show about 8 years ago now, and we appreciate Mary and all that she does. I don't think it's mentioned every week, but Mary is of Standing Rock Sioux descent. And yeah, so we also are going to be hearing from an Australian who is currently living in the Minneapolis area. She's here on some research, but Robert did a very cool, interesting conversation with Dr. Bon Mott. As I mentioned, she is from Australia. I think the accent is really cool. It's very intriguing to listen to, but also the research that they're studying is important, and I'm interested in learning more about how it relates to Indigenous communities and kind of our beliefs and different stories that have been passed down. So stay tuned for that. We're going to hear from Dr. Bon Mott in segment 3. And then also hearing from Wendy Pilot, U.S. Humane Policy Leader with the United States Humane Society, because it's Fun Friday. So we have a Fun Friday, or Fun Fact Friday, Sacred Animals segment from Wendy. In the live read at the beginning of the segment, I had mentioned that NACD, Native American Community Development Institute, and Four Sisters Food Sovereignty Program that they have will be doing a bike tour around South Minneapolis's urban farms. I believe the bike tour will be stopping at 4 different farms. You're going to learn about the food that's grown there, local Indigenous Native food. And then you're going to share a healthy meal at the end with community. So that sounds really fun. That's Saturday. Another thing going on Saturday, tomorrow, September 28th, there is a Native art market. And I'm pretty sure I got to go check this one out. This is in Eagan, and it's a public event by Capone Art Park. This will be from 12 to 4 p.m. Eagan. That address is 1220 Diffley, Diffley Road in Eagan, Minnesota. There's going to be a bunch of indigenous native vendors selling beautiful crafted items, as well as local indigenous food trucks. And I think there's also going to be a plant walk. So also very educational if you want to bring your young ones to that, or your elders. That would be a fun thing to do. Also this weekend, I know on Sunday is the Kiwi Strong, which is Ojibwe, I believe the Native American woman triathlon at Bade Makoska. And I believe I said that correct today. So, but before I run out of time here in this segment, I want to get started with Mary Kunesh's first half of her update. So here is Mary.
Hamatakiape, State Senator Mary Kunesh here, coming to you from beautiful downtown Minneapolis. I'm here because I'm hosting, as the chair of the National Caucus of Native American State Legislators, I'm hosting a conference with elected legislators from across the country. And I'm really excited to be able to do this and bring all these folks together into one place. The National Caucus of Native American Legislators works hard to promote a really good understanding of the state and tribal issues between states and across the nation that really have an effect on our people, whether they're on the reservations or in the urban settings. There are 91 elected legislators in the United States, which is not really all that much. So I hope all of you are thinking perhaps maybe one day that you would join us. But we have 91 members from 21 different states. So that means there are less than half of our states in the United States have a Native legislator. And I think we really need to work hard to make sure that that changes for the positive. And so what we do within this caucus is we come together to discuss the issues at hand. We want to increase awareness of the diverse Native American cultures. We want to be able to support state and tribal communication. You know, Minnesota has that nation-to-nation relationship with our tribes, which is really unique. It's not like that in all of the states. And then what is really great is that NCSL, the National Council of State Legislature, is able to provide us legislators with research and training and educational services across the board. And so this conference is to do just that. And as I said, I'm the chair of this caucus, and my vice chair is Representative Sean Bordeaux from South Dakota. Representative A.J. Pittman from Oklahoma is our secretary. Representative Micah Au from Hawaii is our treasurer, and our peacekeeper is Representative Ken Luttrell from Oklahoma. And so we'll be coming together over this weekend in downtown Minneapolis, as I said, and discussing some things that are really high on the needs of our communities, such as housing insecurity. And what I'm really excited is to really speak to that through a Native lens. And of course, we always and will probably continue to address and talk about how we can protect our Native women. And we're going to have Ruth Buffalo, our very special Ruth Buffalo, who's now the Chief Executive Officer at the Minnesota Indians Women's Resource Center, join us and talk about the good work that she's doing. And then Deanna Bolo from the MMIR office is going to also join us. There's so many things that affect the economic development of tribes across the United States. Every single one of our reservations, our tribes, our Native communities, whether they're urban, suburban, rural, on the reservation, all have struggles with building that economic development that has been withheld from us, those opportunities withheld from us for so long. And so we'll be talking a little bit about elevating Native economic development. And then, what else are we going to be doing? We're going to go visit the Native American Community Center. I don't know if you've been there. It's just absolutely beautiful. And then meet with NACD and visit All My Relations Art Gallery, talking about elevating political leadership, just so many good things that we're going to come together and talk about. And hopefully we'll all be able to go back to our communities and our constituents that we represent and bring some fresh ideas and thoughts to the process of governing and legislating. So that's where I am right now, and I'll be back in just a little bit.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after this quick break.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Everyone likes a litter-free ride on Metro Transit buses and trains, so pitch in. Take pride in your ride and take your trash off with you when you get off at your stop. You'll find trash bins at every Metro station. Want to help clean up transit stops in your neighborhood? Join the hundreds who volunteer to adopt a stop and keep it picked up. Learn more at metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop. That's metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop.
Attention event planners and festival organizers. This is Frank Brown from Minuteman Press Uptown, your union print shop partner for your next event. We're here to check items off your list and make your event the talk of the town. From stunning banners and eye-catching signage to programs, tickets, and name badges, we print everything. Get promotional products at prices that let you load up on merch and fill those swag bags. Make your event unforgettable with Minuteman Uptown. Visit us at mpuptown.com.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native-owned JF's Bean Factory off Randolph Avenue in St. Paul. Only the good stuff keeps us awake. Hey, thanks for tuning back into Native Roots Radio. We're going to finish our weekly update from Minnesota State Senator Mary Kunesh.
Hello, State Senator Kunesh back again. I would like to just, first of all, remind everybody that September 30th is a very important day in that it is the National Day of Remembrance for U.S. Indian boarding schools. I think there is hardly a one of us that hasn't in some way been traumatically or negatively impacted by the federal Indian boarding school policies that have really torn and caused ongoing trauma to our Indigenous communities. We have the Indian Boarding School Healing Commission that is working to undo some of the harm. They are working hard to provide tribal nations in support of truth and healing, and advocate for schools to include truth about our boarding schools in the curriculum. If you go to boardingschoolhealing.org, you'll find all kinds of really important resources around ways to educate and advocate for awareness and understanding of the horror of Indian boarding schools. And so September 30th, that's this next Monday, is the National Day of Remembrance for the U.S. Indian boarding schools. And it is a day that we show solidarity by wearing orange. And so I hope that you're able to find an orange item in your closet to wear. And if people ask you, why are you wearing orange? It's not for Halloween. It is because of the horrors of the Indian boarding schools. And so, as I said, I know that many of us have family stories and history that go all the way back to those days of the boarding schools. I know my grandfather's brother actually was sent from Standing Rock to Carlisle, where he made many attempts to run back to home, and I think he made it back once and was sent back to Carlisle. And it wasn't until after he was hopping trains to get back to home, to South Dakota, that he fell and had a leg cut off, and that's when they finally let him go home. And so to all of the families that are still here and our ancestors and relatives that have gone before us who have really suffered from the boarding school, our thoughts and our prayers go out to you. And maybe every one of us can put down a little tobacco on September 30th and smudge in remembrance of that terrible, terrible period in our U.S. history. But I also want to let you know about something else that is happening on September 30th that has a huge impact on our community. And that is that there will be a Minnesota Court of Appeals hearing in the Supreme Court chamber, at the Minnesota Capitol on Monday. There is a hearing scheduled for 9 a.m. I believe there will be a rally to acknowledge this case that starts at 8 o'clock on the steps of the Capitol. And this hearing, and I don't think we're done with challenges to ICWA or here in Indian Child Welfare Act or MIFPA, the Minnesota Indian Family Prevention Act. MIFPA is Minnesota Indian Family Preservation Act. Sorry about that. And again, this hearing is based on the fact that there are those that would say that ICWA racially discriminates against non-Native foster parents or adoptees. They're going to hear a case about a set of twins from Red Lake who went to a non-Native foster care after they were born for about 18 months, and when a family member was ready and able to return those children to the community, they brought them back to that family, and they have been thriving in that community, their community of Red Lake, and with their family members all around them. And so this case is brought forward by a couple who cared for those children for about 18 months. And, we always want to be thankful for people that are looking out for children, whether they're our kids or anybody's kids. But this couple cared for the kids for 18 months. And when the relative was ready, they were returned. And as a result, they are bringing up a case to return those two back to them, even though they have been thriving in their relatives' care. And it brings back, it reeks of the Bracken case that was settled this past or a year ago, where attorney Fiddler brought in the fact that ICWA is actually not in the best interest of the children, and has worked hard to undermine the Indian Child Welfare Act. And of course, we worked really hard these last 2 years to improve and fortify MIFPA, the Minnesota Indian Family Preservation Act. There was a consortium of lawyers and professionals and experts and tribal members that spent, it's 2024, 23, 22, the summer of 22, working on going through the entire MIFPA statute and looking for ways to bring it up to date, support it, and fortify it. And so for the last 2 years, I carried legislation that will make sure that MIFPA is carried out to the best that we can. And I think it has made a difference, especially at the county level. I was at a meeting this past week with county officials on the inefficiency of some of the systems that we have in place and how outdated they are. But what I really came away from that was that the counties are working really hard to make sure that ICWA is upheld in the best way. I think for a long time, even though it was a federal mandate and a state mandate, counties just didn't know how to implement it in the best way. And what I was really heartened to see and hear is how these county folks, who really do have the best interest of families and children in mind, are working better and better with the tribes. And that absolutely has to happen, because if there is a child that comes into the county purview that is Native, the first thing they need to do is reach out and let the tribes know that. And then the tribes also have to build that relationship with the counties so that they can work together to bring those kids back into the tribal community with relatives. And so this case that is happening here on Monday is a really, really important case. And of course, the premise is that ICWA is race-based, and that we are being prejudicial towards non-Native foster care. But we have to remind everybody, and we have to educate folks, that the Indian Child Welfare Act is not race-based. It is based on the political status of Native Americans and their tribes. And so it's not a race issue. It's not so much if you say cultural, but it is the political status of Native Americans and their tribes. And that was established in the Constitution, through Congress, in the statutes, and through the treaties. And so it's just important to remember that the Supreme Court affirmed the political status of Native Americans for over these 200 years. The Supreme Court ruled that federal legislation regarding Indian tribes is not based on impermissible racial classifications, and that it's important that we defend ICWA because there's an agreement between the U.S. and tribal governments, and sovereign nations have the most significant interest in their citizens. So that's what's happening with me. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Glorious weather out there. Take care, everyone.
Peanut Geeky Mary, we always appreciate you. After this next break, we're going to hear from Robert. He did an interview with Dr. Bon Mott, who is currently living in Minnesota. They are from Australia, and they're here actually studying lightning and how it correlates with the Native American communities here. It's a really interesting story, so please stay with us.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on site from the best coffee growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Get up off the couch and come to our Vice Presidential Debate Watch Party on Tuesday, October 1st at the Park Tavern. Doors open at 6 p.m., so grab your friends and get ready to see our own Governor Tim Walz highlight how Minnesota became a progressive beacon in the Midwest while exposing all the lies of J.D. Vance. We'll kick things off with a live broadcast from 7 until 8 p.m., hosted by the one and only Matt McNeil and other AM 950 personalities like Greg Bakken, Philip Anthony, and more. Then at 8 p.m., it's game time. Watch the coach face the couch connoisseur. Join fellow progressives, AM 950 staff, and hosts for a night of seeing Governor Walz make Minnesota shine versus J.D. Vance. We've got light appetizers and a cash bar with the option to order from the Park Tavern's delicious full menu. Tickets are just $25 in advance at am950radio.com or $30 at the door. So head out to the Park Tavern on Tuesday, October 1st for our Vice Presidential Debate Watch Party as Walz faces Vance. Again, tickets are at am950radio.com.
If you've made the decision to level your home and build new or to renovate, hire Better Futures Minnesota to take it apart by hand. Think before you scrap. Think of the energy and greenhouse gases saved by diverting what can be reused and recycled from the landfill. Better Futures Minnesota can do it for you. Hennepin County residents and public entities, there are funds available to make the environmentally right thing to do comparable to demolition. Check out betterfuturesminnesota.com. That's betterfuturesminnesota.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
There's a place at the end of the Nicollet Mall at West Grant Street with a huge 12-foot tall red stiletto shoe spinning on the top of the marquee. Well, it's not a shoe store. It's the fabulous entertainment, dining, and cocktail lounge complex that houses Roxy's Cabaret, the Nicollet Diner, and On the Rocks. You have to experience it. Hilarious entertainment, great food, and craft cocktails, not to mention rooftop patios. Located at 1333 Nicollet Mall, you can't miss it.
The future of car shopping is here right now at Rudy Luther Toyota with Luther Direct. It's car shopping without ever leaving your home. Go to rudyluthertoyota.com and click on the Luther Direct button. Choose any vehicle in Rudy Luther Toyota's current inventory, either new or certified pre-owned. Then find out your trade-in's value, review a payment plan you qualify for and customize it, and then set up a time for Rudy Luther to drop off your new vehicle and pick up your trade-in. It's that simple. Your new vehicle without any of the hassle. Check out Luther Direct today at rudyluthertoyota.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear tonight with a low of 59, then Saturday sunshine with a high of 88. Join us Tuesday night at the Park Tavern for our Vice Presidential Debate Watch Party as Tim Walz takes on weird J.D. Vance. Doors open at 5:30 with special live programming from AM 950 before the debate starts. Tickets are $25 and available at am950radio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local and national Native news and events, and here we go. I have a special guest on tonight for one segment. Doctor, do you mind introducing yourself?
Sure, Robert. My name is Dr. Bon Mott, and I'm an artist, curator, researcher, consultant, and I'm here on Turtle Island in Minnesota researching the origins of lightning.
Yeah, you know, I've seen your video, and it's amazing. My native name is Distant Thunder, and so it really interests me in your work, and I'm really happy to have you on and talk a little bit about that. But also, before we get into that, I want to make sure that we talk about an event that's coming up real soon. Can we do that first?
Sure. So twice a year St. Paul Artist Lofts have an art crawl, and there's one coming up, which is on the 4th to the 6th of October, and I will be doing a performance there Friday night and Saturday night, and I've got an installation, and I'll be doing an artist talk, and it's in the Great Northern Warehouse Collective at 308 Prince Street, and I'm in 421. So everyone that comes will have access to the buildings. But if you want to come and see a performance, I'll be performing at 9 p.m. On the 4th and the 5th of October.
I love the warehouse, and that's one of the first artist lofts down in St. Paul, and I remember that very well when they got that going, and it's really exciting that it's still happening and still doing what it's supposed to do. Have artists like yourself living there, and yeah, though that's exciting, the art crawl. But let's get talking a little bit about some lightning here, because that really not only your artistry, but also what you have to say about lightning. Give our listeners a little listening to what you're doing and the science of lightning.
Well, firstly, even discussing the Northern Lofts and that I'm here in Minnesota, I need to acknowledge that I'm on stolen land, and that's really important, especially on an Indigenous-led radio station. So thank you for having me. It's huge for me, for my career, to be interviewed by a Native American person while here. So in 2018, I did a performance in Minnesota, and I learned about the thunder beings there. I started learning about the thunder beings, and it's there that I learned that lightning comes from the cosmos. And I always knew that lightning, its origins seem to have come from a cloud, and that's what science generally teaches us. But through people generously sharing about the thunder beings, I went on a research. I began to research the origins of lightning for 6 years, and coming up to the concept of lightning originating from dying stars or supernova. But this all started from a quote from the former lead singer of AC/DC, Bon Scott, who I did my doctorate about.
Cool. Very cool. Let's hear that.
So Bon Scott was asked if he was the AC or the DC. So he died in 1980. And my art practice is performing as his ghost, respectfully. I've discussed this with his friends and family to get approval. Cool. And one of the areas that I really like to acknowledge Bon Scott is through his songwriting. He was a trickster. And I like to acknowledge that he was actually singing about the marginalized experience, and he was a complex person. And he went to jail when he was 15 and made friends with Aboriginal people there that he retained friendship with for the rest of his life. And he was asked if he was the AC or the DC, and he said he was neither. He was the lightning in the middle. Cool. And I thought, for someone to say that, they've got to be very intelligent. He's just not, so that's what the title of my doctorate is, and that's why I'm here in Minnesota. And I've got Australian government funding for this project, and I'm being mentored by a collaborator, Simon Rose, who's in Australia we say he's a proud Aboriginal man from Queensland, so he's making sure I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything respectfully.
That's awesome. And doctor, you are from Australia, I do believe, right? With your accent there. Oh wow.
Well, I just like the lightning in the middle. I'm a little bit in the middle. I was actually born in California and moved to the land so-called Australia when I was 6 years old. So I've lived in Australia most of my life.
Cool.
And I do have to also acknowledge the traditional custodians of the ancient land, so-called Australia, also, because this is where I've done the bulk of my research. The ancient land there is an incredible place for anyone that can get there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ways I'm inspired as well. I'm hoping to, introduce people to each other, create a conduit between, in Australia, we don't race. I mean, you guys say Native American, Indigenous Australians say more like, Indigenous mob or Indig mob.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, talk a little bit more about the lightning in the clouds, because that really, really interests me.
Right. So, and it doesn't surprise me that it interests you, because in Minnesota, the distant thunder is like something I've never heard before. I've never heard that in Australia, and I don't know really what the science is behind that, apart from maybe there's not mountains around. We can hear thunder from greater distances, but so each lightning strike produces 30 million volts of electricity. And, scientists were trying to figure out why or how that amount of electricity can come from a cloud. I mean, we know that the clouds are charged, and we know that there's, ice particles, and we know there's a charge on Earth. We know all of that, but I guess the developing theory is that when a star dies, it's a huge event. I mean, you can imagine a lot of stars are bigger than our sun, and they release all of the material from its core, including iron, including all the elements and minerals we have on Earth. And coming from the dying star are cosmic rays, and they're highly charged particles that travel almost at the speed of light. And they take around about 1 million years to reach our ozone layer. And when they reach our ozone layer, they break apart into a runaway breakdown. And when they break apart, they look like, I guess, lungs or tree branches. And then those microscopic particles connect to ice particles in clouds, which they have to be at least 3 inches long. And that creates a short circuit, and that's the lightning that we see, which also the tip of the lightning is extremely hot and is the only thing that can split apart nitrogen to form with oxygen to form nitrates, and which is called the nitrogen fixation cycle. And science knows all of this in disparate parts, but where I'm trying to create positive change is through acknowledging that Indigenous science and knowledge is extremely complex and woven. It's so layered, and through researching the origins of lightning to when it arrives on Earth, it's acknowledging that why are we separating knowledges? Why don't they all come together? And that way we can see that that we all come from the stars.
Right. No, that's really cool, because a lot of Native American and I'm sure Aboriginal and other cultures talk about that we're star people, and that we do. And John Trudeau always said that we come from Earth and stars.
Exactly, and that's one of the reasons why I'm researching this so much. I'm wanting to describe it from the perspective of lightning.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we got about a minute left. Let's talk real quick again about the art crawl, and to get people down there to see your installation one more time. What's the date? And it's the Northern Warehouse Artist Collective.
Right. So that
St. Paul.
Exactly. So the art crawl is running from Friday the 4th till Sunday the 6th, and you can come anytime to my loft because I'll have an installation set up, which you can come and see. But also I'll be doing a performance at 9 p.m. on Friday and 9 p.m. Saturday. It'll just be a short performance. It's just, to the song Jailbreak, written by Bon Scott.
Cool.
And then on Sunday, I'm going to be doing an artist talk at 5 p.m. So I'll be talking more about the science of lightning there.
Doctor, thanks so much for being on. I'd like to get you back on again and talk deeper about the other things you do and get deep into this. I really appreciate you taking time out and talking to our audience about this fascinating theory, which I believe is true.
Thank you so much, Robert.
All right, have a great day. This is Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back after this short message.
Everyone likes a little free ride on Metro Transit buses and trains, so pitch in. Take pride in your ride and take your trash off with you when you get off at your stop. You'll find trash bins at every Metro station. Want to help clean up transit stops in your neighborhood? Join the hundreds who volunteer to adopt a stop and keep it picked up. Learn more at metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop. That's metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
The Met Council is the governing planning agency for the Twin Cities metro region. One of our biggest responsibilities is to create a long-range plan every decade that imagines the best future for all of us. We need your help. We want to know your thoughts on the latest plan. We're calling it Imagine 2050. We'll use it as a guide to shape public policy and drive growth over the next 30 years. It'll help us improve the everyday essential services we provide, including transportation, housing, water resources, and parks and trails, with input from the 7 counties and 181 cities and townships in the region. But we're still missing the most important piece, and that's you. Visit engage.metrocouncil.org to learn more about Imagine 2050 and share your own thoughts and hopes for the Twin Cities region. Let's imagine a better, brighter future together. Engage.metrocouncil.org. That's engage.metrocouncil.org.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Hey, I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy. Wendy's been an animal advocate for many years, and geez, I've learned so much from her over the last 8 years of being a co-founder here of Native Roots Radio. Welcome, as always, Wendy.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Hana Jihihani. That means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level, and it's always my pleasure to do that. We're here in Long Beach, New York, and it got me thinking about some things that I want to talk about. Specifically, since we're so close to the ocean, I wanted to talk about sharks.
Oh, wow. Well, everyone, don't pay attention. We do have sharks and watchdogs watching our house, so just want to let everyone know when we're out here in Long Beach.
We always have people at our house. Anyway, so listen to this, Robert. Although sharks are portrayed by the media as fearsome, bloody killers, the most recent 5-year global average of shark attacks on humans is 72 annually. As a result, only around 5 people are killed by sharks a year. So that's the latest, 5 sharks per year. But guess how many people deer kill? Okay, deer kill 130 people annually.
What is there? I guess I'm not a deer hunter, so maybe the deers are attacking the deer hunter.
Okay, this list that I have doesn't actually tell you how the human is killed by these animals, but this is it. Sharks kill 5 people annually. Deer kill 130 people annually. Cows kill 22 people annually. Jellyfish kill 40 people annually. Ants kill 30 people annually.
I know, we know some killer ants that I'm related to.
Horses kill 20 people annually. Hippopotamuses.
I didn't even know how to say that.
Hippopotamuses kill 2,900 people annually.
What?
Yes. Is that crazy? So it really just got me thinking about that. And here's the thing. How many sharks are killed each year that we kill, humans? Humans kill an estimated 100 million sharks every year. That's an average of almost 274,000 sharks every day, over 11,000 sharks every hour, and around 3 sharks every second. One way people kill sharks is through shark finning. So they hunt the sharks, they just cut up their fins, they throw the alive shark back in the ocean to drown.
It's like a Chinese delicacy.
Yes, and they take the fin and they make shark fin soup out of it, which is supposed to, have some medical whatever in their minds. They have some type of medical or aphrodisiac or something in their mind.
I didn't know that many.
But do you want to know the thing on Earth that kills the most humans per year?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea?
Would it be humans?
That's a really good guess. Mosquitoes.
Oh.
Mosquitoes cause more human suffering than any other organism. Over 1 million people worldwide die from mosquito-borne diseases every year. Isn't that something?
I believe that when you think about it, but I'm still upset about all these sharks being killed.
I know. So, they have Shark Week on TV, specials. I've never watched it, but people are really afraid of sharks, and it really is the other way around.
It's almost like the big bad wolf thing with our wolves.
It is, and like this article said, they're portrayed, right? Mm-hmm. They're portrayed by the media and movies as fearsome and bloody killers. But honestly, you don't want to see anybody die in a year, but only 5 people a year die. Geez, a cow kills 22 people.
They probably deserve it, too.
Probably, right? Because cows are very gentle.
Right.
Unless they do,
They're
people
provoked.
do cow tipping.
Oh, yeah.
Do you hear about that?
Oh, yeah. That's the old thing where you get drunk and...
You knock over cows.
And then they can't get up.
They can't get up. Well, that's just a terrible thing anyway. I had no idea about hippopotamuses either. 2,900 people annually. And ants, I could see that. But mosquitoes, that's it. That's our... And we have to stop killing all these sharks. They're part of the ecosystem in the ocean, right? They need to kill other fish in order to keep the oceanic system in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's too much.
It is.
Anyway, should I tell you now a couple of funny things?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been collecting those little memes.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a meme. this is a cat having a party at his house, and he's inviting a bunch of other cats. And on a sign for the party, it says party, BYOB. You know, that means like when we go to a party, it means bring your own booze. Mm-hmm. But this is bring your own box, so that cats could sit in the box.
Oh,
so
and
cats
party.
are at the party, and they're all sitting in a box.
Yeah.
Isn't that cute?
They could be in a bag, too, but I get it.
Here's a kangaroo with a baby kangaroo in the pouch, and the baby says, there's plenty of room in here for a puppy. Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Here's one. I don't really like to sing these, but I will. Here's a cat singing, playing the piano and singing at a concert, and he's singing, when I find myself in times of trouble, like when I scratch a brand new chair, I think of words of wisdom. I don't care.
God.
I know, that was pretty bad. I should have practiced that one. Yeah. I don't have a good singing voice at all, but I do sing way too much for someone who can't sing. I'll just say that. All right. Small dog support group. Small dogs.
Yeah, I've seen this one.
All right, maybe I've said this one. Okay,
no, I've seen it.
One dog says, I'm not a yappy dog. The other dog says, we can be yappy, but it's not who we are. And then another dog says, this harness I'm wearing was made for a cat. And then the last dog says, I'm so sorry, Spencer. Isn't that cute? Oh, here's one. Speaking of sharks, here's a shark taking a picture of a human being in the ocean. And the person says, what are you doing? And the shark says, I'm taking a picture of my meal and putting it on Facebook. But we already know that it's only 5 humans. I mean, they do hurt people. Like, would they say 70-something people per year get hurt by sharks? Mm-hmm. I mean, just be careful swimming. Make sure, you're swimming where there's a lifeguard on duty who could, keep an eye out on for sharks and dangerous things. I mean, here in this month now, in October, when we go down to the beach, we're going to see jellyfish. That's the time of year that the jellyfish come. And the really dangerous one are the man of war. The tentacles get you and can really kill you.
Wow. Well, hey, thanks, Wendy. What great segment as always. How fun. Great information about the sharks. Hey, we're still here. We are the 7th generation. This has been Native Roots Radio.
Free Leonard Peltier.